where will Russell Westbrook end up? Because he is still a free agent, and obviously there isn't a lot of money, at all left. And on top of that, there isn't a ton of roster spots left. So will Russell Westbrook be in the NBA next season? Like, is this going to be the first year where Russell Westbrook is not in the NBA? So let's talk about it. So I obviously do think that Russ will eventually end up, on a team, in the NBA. I don't think he's retiring, and I don't think, that he won't find a team. The teams that still have roster spots are the Kings, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, and the Knicks. I'm not sure how many other teams have roster spots for him. I know those teams still have some roster spots, but like for the Warriors, for example, they are still waiting on, Jonathan Kuminga and, potentially getting Al Horford and, D'Anthony Melton. So I'm not sure Russ would go there because there's, a lot of things happening there. But we did hear that the Kings were very interested in him. And then obviously things had changed as they got Dennis Schroeder and stuff like that. But the report is that they're still interested in him. So maybe Russ ends up on the Kings. Maybe. The Timberwolves would be interesting. Hello, how are you? The Timberwolves would be interesting because Mike Conley is obviously getting up there in age. And he's still on the team, of course, and stuff like that, but like, they do need more point guards. They need more point guard play. And so obviously Rob Dillingham is there, but like he, didn't get much playing time last year, and you can't expect him to just be, perfect and not make mistakes, and, they're going to want to make the playoffs. And so obviously it's not that Rob Dillingham can't help you, but like to expect him to, be like a veteran and all that kind of stuff already would be unfair, to ask of him. I do expect him to get some minutes. I was high on him coming out of the draft, but like, I would think they potentially need another point guard, especially because again, Mike Conley is getting up there in age, as talented and, as good as he's been in his career. So Russell Westbrook on the Timberwolves could be very interesting. Russ, we know, will always give you high energy. The Timberwolves could use, some more depth if possible. So I kind of like Russ on the Timberwolves. On the Knicks, I feel like it doesn't really make sense. I feel like they don't have room for him at this point, with Miles McBride obviously being their clear backup point guard. And then they picked up Jordan Clarkson. So like I feel like there's not really room for Russ there. Not that they would necessarily say no. Obviously, if he wants to go there on a veteran minimum, of course. I just don't know how many minutes he would end up getting there. So I'm not like ruling out the Knicks, but I don't think it makes the most, the most sense fit-wise. I feel like out of the four teams I mentioned, I feel like the Timberwolves make the most sense for a fit because they'll probably get playing time and they are a potential playoff team. So that's my opinion on that. Now, is he going to necessarily sign to a team before the season starts? I'm not sure. Because, or maybe not even before the season starts, but like, it may not be until training camp, you know, until he ends up signing with the team and stuff like that, because at this point he might as well wait and see, what all the rosters end up, kind of looking like closer to the season. Even though training camp is not too far away. Actually, it should be starting pretty soon. But like he can kind of field all the options and all the NBA teams, stuff like that, because again, on a veteran minimum, he's going to have offers, right? Like teams are going to want him. So I definitely do think he's going to be in the NBA next season, for sure. It's a matter of where and when he signs. I think before the season starts, for sure he'll be on a team. He's just that type of person where like I can't imagine him not wanting to be on a roster before the season starts, if that makes sense. Like, he's just that kind of person, like very like committed and stuff like that to the team. So like he would want to be there obviously when the season starts. So I expect Russ to be on a team before the season starts. Again, if I'm picking out of those 4 teams I mentioned, I would say the Timberwolves make the most sense for both sides. But like any 4 of those teams, could use him, because again, we're talking about Russell Westbrook on a veteran minimum. The Knicks are also going to be a playoff team, and the East is wide open, so that does give him more of a potential opportunity to go to the NBA Finals, maybe. So it depends on what he's looking for. He hasn't won a ring yet, so I'm sure that's in his mind as well. Somebody said the Sacramento Kings. So I know the Kings were, and I guess still are, interested in him. My thing about the Kings is that I feel like after signing Dennis Schroeder, and that's kind of when the fallout started to happen, that the reports were like Russ to the Kings seemed more unlikely, because you can't really, I guess you could, but like Russ and Schroeder together, I don't know if that's like the best backcourt together. And also, Keegan Murray can play the 3 at the same time, but I don't hate Keegan Murray at the 2, because he is a really good 3-point shooter. So if there is potential to have Keegan Murray play the 2, I don't think that's the worst idea. But I don't think necessarily Schroeder and Russell Westbrook is like the best backcourt combo together. And also, in my opinion, no offense to Kings fans, I don't expect the Kings to be that great this year. I'm not even sure they make the play-in, but they could make the play-in, obviously. But like, I don't see much, further than that. And I feel like if Russ, it depends on what Russ's goals are. But if I am Russell Westbrook, and we know that, again, he just wants to win, I would think, because the money is going to be the same no matter where he goes at this point, I believe, I feel like he would want to go to a team that has a better chance to win, which is why the Knicks, I said, makes sense. I don't necessarily think the Timberwolves are coming out of the West, but I definitely think they're going to be in the playoff hunt. Although, funny enough, I did my predictions yesterday. I don't think I included the Timberwolves. I think I forgot about them. I had the Blazers at 8. I don't want to backtrack on what I said, but Timberwolves at 8 sounds a little more likely, than Blazers at 8, but either way. I think the Timberwolves have a better chance of making the playoffs than the Kings, so that's why I wouldn't. Again, if he wants to win, I don't really see why the Kings would make the most sense for him. That's just my opinion. Because he's not going to be a starting point guard, on the Knicks either, or on the Kings. I mean, I guess maybe they'll start him over Schroeder, but I'm not so sure about that. So I think Russell Westbrook will definitely be on a roster. Like, he's not going to be retired. He'll be on a roster. Just a matter of when and with who. So, we'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. I hope you enjoyed, and see you soon.